Hello, thanks very much for joining me again. This video today, you will see I'm not standing by the lathe, and there's a very good reason for that. I'm looking at our crank-top mills, but the black ones are new, these chrome ones are newer still. They are slightly different fitting, so I thought I'd have a go at doing them a different way. I know most of you out there are wood turners, but these kits can very easily be done on just a pillar drill, and that's what I'm going to do today. I've also got a little bit of clear plastic tubing which I'm hoping to use to make something just a little bit different. That's an option for you. You can do lots and lots of different things with these. They come in packets like this. There's a 4-inch version in the chrome and an 8-inch version, same as the black. The chrome ones, however, have a slightly different fitting, only very slightly, and they're very slightly easier. These chrome ones have a 38mm hole at the bottom and a 38mm hole at the top. The black ones, you'll know if you've done those, have a 36mm hole at the top. I could explain why, but it's all very boring, so I shan't bother. What I've got is a little blank of bois, which is 100mm long. I've marked the ends, so what I'm going to do is point the camera at the pillar drill and basically just show you how simple it is to drill this out and put the kit together pretty much in whatever shape block of wood you want. I forgot to mention, on the website there are some downloadable instructions, or guide sheets as we like to call them. I don't like the word instructions. I'm not telling you how to do something, I'm showing you a way of doing it. There's probably 3 or 4 different ways you can do it. Depends what tools you've got and what equipment you've got, and I know I've said it before but I'll say it again. These are guides to help you with the sizing and the drilling of the bits that you're doing, and you guys out there are so inventive, you'll come up with something far more interesting than I will today. But I will show you the drilling and the assembly and how they go together, and the rest of the artistic bit I'll leave to you guys, you're the experts. I have got a 38mm drill bit, a 25mm drill bit. I've also got a bit of plastic tubing here, and I think it's 35mm drill bit. This does not come with the kit. I'm just adding this in just to do something a little bit different that I hadn't done before. I thought I'd give it a try and see what it worked out like. I'm going to start with a 38mm drill bit and take the bottom of the blank out, ready for the grinder end of the kit to go into. First part of the kit, 10mm deep. This is the bottom of the kit. The next section, 25mm. Now normally I would do 25mm all the way through, or certainly over halfway, and then attack from the other end, but because I'm putting this clear tube in, I've only gone down a little way in there, just far enough for this particular design to take the grinding burrs in the bottom there. And now I'm going to turn it over and do the top, and again I'm going to start with 38mm at the top. This time I've only gone down 5mm. You don't need to go very deep on the top bit, literally just deep enough for the top section to sit in. And I'll get the bit now and just check that it fits in okay. So this is the section that fits in. The blue just comes off. It's stainless steel under there, and you'll see actually I haven't gone quite deep enough there, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that one. If you go too deep, a little bit too deep, it doesn't really matter that much. That's fine, no problem at all, that fits in there okay. Now, as I said, normally I would now do 25mm down to the bottom, and then we're pretty much done, to be honest. That's all you need to do for the kit. But because I'm having a play with this clear tube, and I'm going to make some little windows in this, this is designed to slot in a 35mm hole, so I'm now going to drill down 35mm to meet at the bottom bit as I did with the other part. Well, as you'll see, my drill hasn't got quite far enough down there to meet it with the other one, so I'm going to carry on with a 25mm hole at this end until they meet up, and all it means is I'm going to have to maybe adjust where I put my little portholes on the outside of here. We'll see that in a minute. There we go, and I've now met up through with the other parts there. So this is the bottom part where the grinder burrs are going to go. This is the top part with the little rim in the top, and I'm hoping that this bit of plastic tubing, it does just, it slots down in there quite nicely, and it's now just a question of cutting this to the right length. I need to make sure I cut it inside there so it doesn't foul on the metal top when the metal top goes in. So I'll measure that now, and I'm just going to cut it off with a hacksaw. It's actually left a dust mark there, so I need to make sure a little bit shorter than that when it goes in. So I've cut my little bit of perspex tubing, and it needs a bit of deburring and tidying up, but I'm now going to hopefully slot that just to test fit inside like so. That will fit in there. We'll just double check the top again. That fits on there. This is where the crank handle is going to go on the top. We're all ready to fit in the bottom. All I need to do now is mark, and I'm actually going to drill some little portholes in this piece, so we can see when it's finished what's inside. My blank is, if I can get that, I don't normally have the camera here, so bear with me. The blank's 100mm long, so halfway would obviously be 50mm. I think I'm actually going to go slightly more towards the top, and I'm going to centre it at around about 60mm on there. So there we've got a little portholes in there as well with a few bits. What I'm now going to do is basically just pop this back in, just see what it looks like. Are we going to be able to see what's inside? Well, when I've tidied it up and got rid of some of the wood chips in there, yes, I think the answer is yes, we are. Oh, there's a tiny weeny little gap around the edge of there, but not a lot. That's going to fit on the top there, and what I'm now going to do is just do a little bit of tidying up before final assembly. So what I'm going to do now is just to test fit. My two words of advice. One is, don't, if you're going to try this method and use one of these, don't put that in until you've sanded out the inside, because I did that on the video a minute ago, and I have to tell you, that was the devil's own job to get out. So just deburr it on the inside and get it clean before you do a test fit on that. I'm not going to put that back in again for the moment. What I am going to do is just do a test fit of the springy and the grindy parts in the kit, just to make sure it fits. Once again, we've got our easy fit spring retainer in there, so it's a 125mm hole in the bottom of there, like so. And it's always more difficult when you're filming. I know it fits. There we go. That bit goes on the top, like so, and then we have our crank top that goes on there, like that. So I'm having to watch what I do, so if the camera missed that, my apologies. But there we go. That fits in okay. And we can put the bottom plate when I find it in there. So basically we know that that fits all okay, no problem at all. I've got enough room for adjustment there, so that burr is going to move up and down, and that's going to work okay when it's all screwed in place. So all I need to do now is sand and finish this as I wish. Before I do the final finishing, I'm just popping the bottom retaining plate in there. I'm going to pop in 2 pilot holes for the screws before I do the final finishing, just to save me getting any more sawdust over it. When it comes for me fitting the top, because of this design with the plastic inner, I won't be able to actually screw that down because I've removed the wood to get that plastic tube in. Does it matter? Not really. It'll sit quite happily on the top there. It doesn't really move anywhere. But if you're not using the plastic, you would put the pilot holes in and screw that one in as well. Having finished it, as I'm happy with, and cleaned the tube, I'm just going to pop the tube down inside the unit. How am I going to fix that in there? With this very clever thing called gravity. It's free and it's everywhere. Right, I'm going to take the blue plastic covers off the metal fittings so you can see the nice shiny bits. Right, I have got my pilot holes in the bottom there. So the grinding burr goes on like that, that slots up there. The spring and the spring retainer go like so in there, and there's a little cutouts. If I hold that up to the camera, you might just be able to see little cutouts for the screws there. So we need to line all that up with the screw holes if we can. It's a little bit fiddly, I have to say. I'm going to line up the metal bit first. And then pop in the grinder, like so. Then I'm going to pop in the bottom plate. It's indented one side. The indentation goes towards the inside, towards the top of the kit, and it sticks out towards the bottom, and I'm then going to screw the 2 little screws that I made the pilot holes for in the bottom. And I have to say, doing this on camera is fiddly. I'm trying to watch the screen and watch the kit. It's very, very difficult. Right, there we go. The screwdriver I'm using, and I will stress, and it stresses this, I believe, on the instructions, is a PH1, a Phillips head 1 screwdriver, not a posi drive screwdriver. There we go. I'm going to screw those in all the way. Right, before I was rudely interrupted by the wasp, hopefully you can see the grinder springs up and down like so. Now this bit's a bit different because of the plastic insert I've got in there. Normally I would put that over the top and I would screw that down onto the wood, but because I've got this clear perspex inside, I can't do that. So that's just going to sit on top of there. That goes on like so. The adjuster knob goes on, and then you can adjust the grind as you want, and that is the kit finished. There we go. Pretty straightforward, to be honest. I've made it a bit more complicated with this little bit in here, but I'm going to pop along to the kitchen. I'm going to put some salt in this one. So there we have a 4-inch cranktop mill, as you can see there. I hope that's been helpful. As I said, I'm going to stress I've made this a bit more complicated than it needs to be by putting this plastic tube in. You don't need to do that, you can just do it in wood. What I nearly did today, but I couldn't find one, was actually just make one in a log and literally just drill the holes in the log and then put the fitting in. So that's it, finished. What I'm going to do now, because it's dusty in here, I don't really want to do it in here, I'm going to take this into the kitchen. I'm going to put some salt in it, and I'll show you the grinding in the salt, and then we'll take a still as I normally do, put it up at the end so you can see this other version. So I hope that's been helpful. Maybe give you an idea. If you're doing a pair, you could always do a round one and a square one, or something like that, octagonal one, who knows. The opportunities, as I'm renowned for saying, are endless. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care whatever you do in your workshop. Bye bye for now.